What's up, guys? Back again for a little 2020 action. Well, we're not in the office this time, but I kind of like this office a little bit better. It's finally warmed up. The first time I've had my sweatshirt off. Speaking of sweatshirts, my little SMC sweatshirts, which we've got online now, so check the link down below. But that's literally the first time I have been in a t-shirt in the last 15 days, because it's been a 15 days on the road journey. Started off by heading up, stopped at Smith Lake for a little pre-practice, and then up to Cumberland. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Lake Cumberland because that's a special lake. It really is a special lake. I won there last year, won $125,000 last year, made all the right decisions. And this year I came up short. I finished 24th or 25th in the tournament, made the top 30 cut. Kind of went for broke on day 3, which, you know, that's kind of what this video is about. Hindsight 2020, right? Kind of went for broke a little bit on day 3 when I should have just stayed the course. You know, Cumberland's a neat lake. There's tons of big smallmouth in there. There's tons of big largemouth. It's just a neat fishery. It's a river fishery. But you know, practice, you know, for me, practice was brutally tough. If you watch the practice videos that we shot, we'd only caught maybe, I think, 8 fish in 3 days. But the one thing I did notice, and this one, I get a big props to Garmin on the Panoptics, is I was able to see the fish. I could see fish suspended out off these points. They wouldn't feed, and I wasn't 100% sure they're even bass, but I could see fish in the right areas suspended. And I knew once the water would warm up, a little warming trend was coming through the tournament, that I'd have an opportunity to catch these fish. But because practice was so tough for me, I found this one creek mid-lake that I felt like had a decent population of smallmouth in it, and I thought to myself, you know, I need to catch a good bag of fish, and the best option I have right now, I feel like, is just staying in this creek, throwing a jerkbait the entire time, and try to get 5 of these bigger smallmouth to bite. So I went in that creek and I thought to myself, I'm going to throw the jerkbait all day long and make something happen. I saw them on the Panoptics, and I was right. Matter of fact, take a look at some of these big smallmouth I caught in this creek. This stuff is awesome. There was 3 or 4 fish on this. I caught a couple off this tree the other day with a spinnerbait. I can see them here now. They're here. And they're chasing everything, but they won't bite. Biggin. Well, not big, but it's a fish. Oh yeah, it's a big smallmouth, dude. Watch those rods.
There you go, bro.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Well, that just convinced me what they're doing. 4-pounder. One just swirled on it. See the swirl? I watched him come up. I don't know why I didn't get it. Net. I gotta get these rods out of the way.
Nice, Scott.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Big one. Oh my gosh, dude. It's a big one, dude. Giant. Get the net out. Net out. There you go, dude. I told you, dude. God. 4.5, 5.
Oh, God, yeah.
Now, wasn't that cool? I mean, I knew there were some good ones in there. I ended up with a little over 14 pounds that day, but I had a shot at 20. You know, but day 1 was all about a jerkbait, and I was throwing 2 jerkbaits. Basically, I was throwing a Mega Bass 110, and then also throwing, wherever my little jerkbait toy is right here, this little dude right here. This is the Live Target Smelt. Gets down pretty deep. This has a little bit bigger lip, and I would rotate between the Mega Bass and the Live Target Smelt, because the Smelt would get down a little bit deeper. So when those fish were farther off, like early in the mornings when it was still kind of chilly, I would throw this Smelt. I'd alternate. But when I got tight to the bank, I would throw the Mega Bass. So I kind of mixed it up a little bit, but it's a pretty bad little jerkbait. That was pretty much all I did on day 1. Jerkbait. Again, had a couple big ones, had one almost 5, lost a couple nice ones. Could have had maybe 20, ended up with 14. Not bad. Well, The only issue was I stayed in there all day, so I didn't learn anything. I didn't go out on the lake and do any fishing, so I wasn't sure how good the fishing was out on the main lake. Day 2, to be honest with you, I was still a little spooked. I was still a little spooked on just running around and fishing because I didn't feel like the fish were quite ready yet. Day 2, I went back to the creek, did the same thing again. Threw a spinnerbait, threw the jerk bait, ended up catching a limit by about noon, but I had 2 good ones, a 4 and a 3 pound smallmouth, and then 3 tiny little spotted bass. And those aren't going to do you any good. So I had about 10 pounds. Well, when I left out of there, I said, it's time to go fishing. The water had warmed up to what I thought was going to be maximum for the day. And I started running the jerk bait in some of these little short pockets. And it didn't really pan out so good with the jerk bait. Started throwing the swim bait. I picked up the swim bait. Actually, it was an all white swim bait, 3.3 Kitech, and started running down the banks and started catching some nice smallmouth. Matter of fact, when I would get on a little bank, I would catch 2 or 3 of those better smallmouth. And went from 10 pounds up to almost 14 again. But to be honest with you, I kind of ran out of time. I didn't have a lot of time to fish that day because I kind of started doing it about noon, and it's a pretty long ways down, even mid-lake, to get back to weigh-in. So a couple hours at best of throwing that swim bait. I do have to give a huge shout out to Brian Thrift. I mean, totally dominated the tournament. He got on a pattern early in the tournament and ran with it. He made great decisions. And obviously, you know, he's one of the best out there on the water. And he won his 6th FLW tournament, but I still got him. I still got the record, so I've got to step it up the rest of the season. Guys, I'm going to win one. I'm not sure which one it's going to be yet, but I'm going to fish hard the next 3 tournaments. We'll see what happens. So big shout out to Brian, congratulations. And big shout out to Matt Airy as well, coming back. Had a bad first day, came back, caught 17.5 pounds or so to sneak back in and get a check. So good stuff, guys. You know, hindsight again, 2020, that's what Brian Thrift ended up winning the tournament on, was a swim bait. And he stayed his course, throwing it all tournament long for the most part, and he was able to win the tournament. You know, and I think in my mind, if I would have just got on that bite a little bit sooner, I would have done much better. Now, this is where it gets complicated. This is where you boil down to decisions of what to do and all this stuff. So I decided kind of last minute to run down to some of the creeks that I fished last year. There's some big smallmouth down there, obviously some nice largemouth, and try to fish some of that water maybe that didn't have any boats on it. And it just didn't work out. I just wasn't catching them at all down there. A big storm came up. I mean, the wind was blowing sideways. It was really, really crazy. So took off out of that area and went back up mid-lake, but again, cut my day short because by then it was 12 o'clock, and started running those spawning banks again with that swim bait, and started catching some nice fish and started calling my way up, and ended up with almost, you know, 13.5 pounds. But I was stuck with this little tiny bass that I affectionately named Taco Bass, because Taco Bass, if I got rid of Taco Bass and replaced him with a 4-pounder, probably would have made the cut. Here's where I messed up. Number one, I should have just stayed the course, followed my gut, that I figured out the pattern, that mid-lake swim bait pattern. I didn't. I changed my mind and went south, or went down by the dam and threw the spinnerbait, kind of something I wasn't even really doing, okay? That's a bad decision. Number two, this was an equipment bad decision on my part. Now, I was throwing a swim bait, throwing this little Kitech right here. I was throwing on a 6-to-1, which is a slower speed reel. I like an 8-to-1 reel. I threw the 6-to-1 because it was forcing me to swim this thing really slow. But the problem was, 2 problems. When the smallmouth would hit, they would run at me, and I would try to reel really fast, and I lost a lot of fish. Matter of fact, take a look at a couple of these clips here of kind of what I'm talking about. You'll see me reeling real fast, and they get off, and then I'll tell you what I did wrong. Oh, God, come on, baby. Please, quit doing that. Dang it. Well, I don't know. He nipped it the first time, and then he knocked slack in it right here. When they knock slack in it, it's usually not a 10-incher. Like it went like 6 inches of slack. Ah. Oh my gosh, that was a big one. It was unbelievable. All right, so here's the reason why I should have been fishing a high-speed reel. Because when those fish hit, I could have reeled really fast and would have gathered up so much more line and drove that hook so much faster and better than trying to catch up to those smallmouth. They're pretty fast anyways with a slower speed reel. So if I had it all to do again, an 8-to-1 reel, I would have to force myself, obviously, to fish it much, much slower. That was really, you know, probably my biggest weakness right there. Made a mistake on that. Now, if I'd have been throwing a spinner bait or something it's just a little bit different deal. But this swim bait, they were grabbing it and running right at the boat, and that was a problem. And also, I probably should have fished on a little bit heavier rod. This one right here is a 6'9" medium heavy. I probably should have thrown it on a heavy. I could have drove that hook in a little bit better. So those are the two things I think if I could do it over again, I probably would have picked my equipment just a little bit better. But that's just a mistake that you're going to make, but you're going to learn from. 10-pound fluorocarbon. This is 10-pound tactical. Fluorocarbon was key for me. This is the P-line. It's super, super sensitive, doesn't have hardly any stretch, and it's very durable. I didn't break any fish off. I got hung in a lot of trees with the swim bait. It just didn't get beat up. So the line held up very, very well. So that's basically my rundown on the tournament. Again, I stayed for a couple days afterwards. Guys, you got to check these videos, and I'm not sure by the time you're watching this, it probably haven't dropped some of those videos, but we're gonna be dropping them soon. We jacked up 18 to 19 pounds of smallmouth the next 2 days at Cumberland, running the pattern I'm describing, running those spawning banks going into those creeks. Matter of fact, I'll show you exactly where I caught some of those fish, and it's on the Fish Brain app. Now, Fish Brain app is an app that I use all the time. I'm going to pull it up here, go to my profile. We've got 11,000 guys are following, men and women, following me on the Fish Brain app. Really, really cool stuff. And it's basically where, I do Instagram, do Facebook, of course, but in the Fish Brain app, I'm really diving in deeper into kind of exactly what I was fishing, equipment-wise, etc. And there's a neat feature on the Fish Brain app that I use a lot, just for you guys, is I will drop a pin, an exact pin on the lake that we just left, show you exactly where I fished. Here, check this out, guys. Look at that. There's a little map. That pin right there is exactly one of the spots that I caught several nice smallmouth. Now, what you'll notice about that little map pin is that all those little creeks in that area are good too. I was going in looking for the banks that had a little bit of a slope to it, a little bit of some dirt, a little bit of a chunk rock, and that was a key to some of those little places there. So check out Fish Brain app. We're going to drop a link down below. Be sure to click the link in the description and get in for free. It's an awesome little app. Check it out. So that's pretty much it. Now, speaking of things, we do have to give a couple little shout outs. One is my jersey, okay? This is the jersey I wore day 1 and 2 of the tournament. Made the qualifying rounds with this jersey right here. The great folks at OT Wear make my jerseys now, okay? That's who I have make my jerseys is OT Wear. They do an awesome job. They have vents down the side. They've just done a fantastic job with jerseys. OT Wear, if you guys need a jersey made, if you want to buy a replica jersey of mine, go to OT Wear, check them out, get you a jersey. We're going to give this one away to one of you watching this. Now, all you have to do, real simple, go to their Facebook page, go to their Instagram page, OT Wear, and subscribe to it. Check it out, become a member of what they've got going on. And again, if you need a jersey, check it out. We're going to be picking a lucky follower to OT Wear to win this jersey. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to promote this for a little while, so give me just a little bit of time. But we're going to be picking a follower from their Instagram page, and pretty cool stuff there. Now, the last thing I'm going to leave you with, this is really cool. So we had tons of fans at the weigh-ins each day. Love all you guys. Had lots of hats. You guys wanted hats. We brought the hats out. And this young man and his father came up to me during the tournament and handed me this letter. The little kid was so excited to meet me. And he drew a little fishing pole on the back there. Pretty cool stuff. I thought that was awesome. And his name is Jude Parrott. And he wrote me a letter. So we're going to read that letter. He's 6 years old, by the way. So this is not a very elaborate letter. It's not going to take a lot of time, but it is very special to me that he took the time to write this little letter. So Jude wrote, this is funny, Scockett Martin. The spelling is pretty amazing, but he's 6. It's good stuff. I cannot wait to see you, is what he said. Hey, Spinner Worm, cool name. He loves your name, Brandon. That's good stuff. He says, I love to watch your shows. My dad's name is Tony, and my last name is Parrott. Just so you know, my name is Jude. Pretty simple. Good stuff. Hey, I didn't know what he was going to write in there, but I tell you what, 6 years old and loves fishing. Jude, good job on the letter, man. And that's it, guys. We're gonna drop links down below. Hopefully this little 2020 will kind of give you some insight on the next time you're in a bass tournament. So we're sitting here on the shores of Pickwick Lake. We just got done filming an unbelievable show right out there in all that current, throwing swim baits. So we'll have that on the channel as well. We've got like 15 videos in the hopper, guys, coming down the pipe. So please jump over, subscribe, click the little notification bell, and we'll have some cool stuff coming your way. So we're gone. We'll see you. Bam!